With news overnight that a Chinese company absolutely creamed OpenAI and all of the United States-based artificial intelligence efforts like it was nothing, stocks, specifically technology stocks, which basically make up the stock market nowadays, took a geographical dump. But is this the end of pumping in gains as we know it? Or is this actually, quite literally, one of the best things to ever happen to the Moon Boys? So if you understand, it's not about how much you can pump on in, but it's about how much you can get dumped on and keep on pumping on in. Hit that like and subscribe. Get signed up with Femex or BITUNIX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade. And without any further ado, let's completely and absolutely take a look at a few very breaking pieces of news today. And then specifically, I do want to talk about the price of Bitcoin, which many of you are here for. So one of the first things I want to look at is this. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, obviously, they bought another 10,000 Bitcoin for a little over $1 billion US. This is pretty big, but Bitcoin's not up. The stock market is not up. And that's what I want to talk about. So as we can see overnight, ARM, NVIDIA, Broadcom, Supermicro, you go down the list, Intel, AMD, Qualcomm, Micron, all down multiple percents because DeepSeek apparently was able to do something that these insanely capitalized companies in the US are doing, but for fractions of the cost, and it scared the market. It spooked the market. You can see the US markets are on track to erase over $1 trillion of market cap, all as earnings, tariffs, and the Fed meeting are also in the spotlight this week. Yes, this will be a big week. And if we take a look briefly, you can see that there are a massive amount of H100 chips that were bought into 2024, and you can see the amounts by each of these specific companies. But specifically, the capitalist on X made this point. He said that even if DeepSeek achieved to match OpenAI with less chips, this isn't bad for chip makers, which is quite literally what the market thinks, at least, because the market is dumping these chip makers. If DeepSeek really reached this level with just a few thousand chips, can you imagine what could be done with millions? And basically, it's very bullish for chip makers, and as he says, especially for NVIDIA. Yet, we're seeing dumps across the board in these chip makers. We see New Moon Capital saying, if he understands correctly, people are bearish on AI because DeepSeek innovation improved efficiency by 30x. Keep in mind, it's open source software, and that with larger clusters and continued scaling of synthetic data and interference compute, next generation models are going to be like 100 times better than O3. And is this good for Bitcoin? I absolutely think so. And this is a good point here. Technology is doing what it's supposed to do, deflating. I mean, one of the most common, I think, always true examples that I go back to is like, do you remember like 20 years ago how expensive TVs were? And if you had like I don't know, back in like the early 2000s, was like a 40-inch TV was considered big, I think, right? And it was like this thick, just like the thickest TV you've ever seen. It just looks awful by today's standards. But back then, they were like thousands of dollars for what, again, by today's standards would be just an absolute garbage television. Now, you can go out and basically buy a really nice 70-inch TV for what, like, I don't know. It's not expensive. And that's just like, to me, one of the most obvious technological deflationary assets, I guess, or deflationary products is like TVs used to be like so expensive. And then TVs, essentially now you can just go buy 5 TVs, one for every bedroom if you want, and really not even spend that much money. But technology is doing what it's supposed to do, deflating. Expect more money printing, expect rapidly higher Bitcoin values, expect MicroStrategy to become bigger and bigger parts of portfolios. All growth is irrelevant and not safe when China is better than, for example, the US at a certain technology. Bitcoin is the only source for reliable growth. And the reason that's brought up is because for the past, 1 or 2 years, people have just been going balls in on the stock market. Specifically, though, most of the gains in a lot of these indices and a lot of these investor portfolios, you know, are they geniuses? Are these people that are hedge fund managers, are these people managing these portfolios geniuses? No, they're literally just like buying NVIDIA and buying tech stocks, and the tech stocks just keep going up. But again, this post basically just highlights like that can't happen forever. And that is what spooked the market today a little bit, is like, oh, wait, I thought I could just buy NVIDIA for the next 500 years and be a trillionaire, right? People are maybe starting to realize, oh, wait, maybe I can't do that because of something like this, where maybe a Chinese company with far less resources and manpower is able to produce the same exact thing as these insanely big companies that are producing chips and that are in the AI race as well. So Bitcoin is a much better option for investing, at least in my opinion. So we see as well Julian Biddle on X just saying chill, because again, I don't think we are anywhere near the top. People are getting freaked out, just like always. And with that, I think it's important to mention that I think this is a buying opportunity, as is every dip in a bull market, because believe it or not, I still believe we're in a bull market. And we see this as well. Bullish, the funding rates have once again gone negative. Bitcoin was $90,000 per coin last time it went negative. You can see he posted this about a little over 2 weeks ago, back on January 10th. And if we can zoom out and look at where Bitcoin was on January 10th, right here. And since then, Bitcoin has gone up. Actually, we did squeak out at all-time high at about like $109,000 per coin. But now, as you can see, we are having a little bit of a pullback. Primarily, this is not a Bitcoin-specific pullback. This is a pullback that is just kind of, because the entire stock. I mean, let me look at I'll just briefly look at the side of my screen. The SPX is down 1.8% as of now. The NASDAQ is down 3%. That's really big for the NASDAQ. I mean, look where it opened. See how low it opened? NASDAQ's down like 3%. We have the Dow Jones actually like slightly up today. But yeah, SPX, NASDAQ, because of the tech fears, which, as I keep mentioning, like tech has been like the leader of the stock market and like the major reason the stock market has just been going up. And that's it. I mean, people have been getting really lazy with investing, I think. They just like literally buy a couple of the biggest stocks. But the thing is, they've been making money doing that. So why would they stop doing that? The only reason they would stop doing that is if there was a reason why those stocks are not just going to keep going up forever. And I personally just think this AI race is only beginning. It's going to get way crazier. There's going to be way more breakthroughs, and people are going to somehow lose in this scenario and miss out on these opportunities. We also see that this is posted by Raoul Powell, but basically this is the banana singularity. And I wanted to kind of just go over it briefly because I do believe we're about to enter phase 2 of absolute banana town. Actually, fun fact, I think about what I'm going to name my video like 2 minutes before I post it. I put quite literally no thought into what I name the videos because I think it's dumb and I just have to make something clickbait anyway, because that's the only thing you can do if you want people to watch it. You have to clickbait. I don't like it, but that's the system, so whatever. But with that being said, maybe I should name this video like, well, if I just name it something about bananas, people don't really click on bananas, I guess. But anyway, taking all of our work into consideration, we believe 2025 will be another good year for risk assets, and we're still in the early stages of the banana zone. He said, basically, yeah, we're going to see 20-30% corrections, which are completely normal, but hopefully this has shed light on our current thinking around growth, inflation, liquidity, the Fed, overall market dynamics, illustrating why we maintain a bullish stance in 2025. Rest assured, we'll be continuing reviewing our views as the year progresses, as data changes. For now, we remain very excited for what the future holds. Next step right here is the banana singularity, or phase 2 of the banana zone. We probably just completed the correction after phase 1, and Q1 should be very strong indeed. Remember, the Treasury will draw down while the debt ceiling is in play and will drain the reverse repo, likely leading to an end of quantitative tightening. Then the Chinese will kick off their massive stimulus, and the EU and UK will join in too. This is going to be a key feature of 2025. So here we are at the beginning of 2025. Let's say that this ends up happening. Let's say that we do have a phase 2 of the banana zone, the most explosive, expansive, profitable, lucrative portion of the banana zone. Let's say that happens. Are you prepared and are you positioned accordingly? Are you going to benefit from that if that happens? Or are you sidelined? Are you fearful? Because those are really, if you really zoom out, those are kind of your two options. You can be positioned and emotionally numb and just sticking to your thesis, or you could be panicking, fearful, pulling positions, changing positions all the time. Basically, my point of saying that is that I do not want to miss Banana Zone Phase 2. That would be one of the worst things that I could imagine, is missing banana zone phase 2. We also see that the EU Parliament was told the world, basically, don't be afraid of innovations like Bitcoin, but rather seize opportunities. This is an interesting stance that we have not seen too much of from the EU. So if they would embrace Bitcoin as an innovation opportunity, then that is exactly in line with what I think the US and a few other countries are going to do throughout this year as well. Instead of trying to push Bitcoin into some corner, which will never work and it will just keep growing, probably stronger and faster in effect anyway, maybe embracing it is the better option. And everyone thought it was over back then too, back at the very beginning of 2024. We had a lot of these same signals here. Let me actually zoom in on here. We had a chop, MACD retest signal line, liquidity was taken out. This is the very beginning of 2024, right? And we went on a very nice move up. And we're seeing something very similar here. Back then as well, we had like a seemingly almost bearish cross here on this MACD, or just a retest of the signal line, and we're right there again. So is this the time to be panicking? My answer, or at least my opinion, is no, I don't think it is. I don't think this is a time to be panicking. In fact, what Bitcoin looks like it could be doing right now is setting a higher low after the low we put in back about 2 weeks ago. We look at the daily. Actually, I want to look at the weekly chart really quick. Yeah, the weekly chart on the MACD, you can see, let me get my camera out of the way. You can see we're retesting the signal line on the MACD. Still significantly above all these key weekly moving averages. And on the daily chart as well, I mean, right now we're holding right on like the 21-day moving average. Lowest, could we get another retest of 90? Maybe. But especially because I think that these fears of the DeepSeek and the ramifications of that were overblown and even misappropriated. I personally don't think even, let's say everything was true about DeepSeek in terms they were able to do everything to match the current compute and everything of something like OpenAI for significantly cheaper. Say they were able to do that. That's something every chip manufacturer and everybody in the AI race can also benefit from. So it's not like they necessarily unlocked some secret that nobody is ever going to be allowed to learn or use either. So I don't personally understand why. Well, actually, I guess I do fully understand why the market dumped. And it's because, honestly, probably, are some of these chip makers overvalued? Potentially. It's really hard to say. Like NVIDIA, and this is the craziest thing to me. Like, let's look at NVIDIA specifically, and we go back. Look at what NVIDIA has done over the last 2 years. $10. Currently, all-time high sits right around like 150 or so. But right now it's about 120 almost. Is it overvalued? Is it a bubble? It's hard to say. But it's down 17% almost today. That's a substantial drop. I just personally, for example, I know a lot of people that actually have like pretty much all of their invested income or all of their invested capital in things like NVIDIA, or just NVIDIA specifically. And that has paid off really well. But is there going to be a point where it's not that easy and you can't just keep throwing every dollar you have into NVIDIA and just getting richer and richer every day forever? Probably. There's probably going to be a time where you can't really do that. And that is why the market is so spooked right now, because we got the first taste of, oh, holy cow, maybe we can't do that anymore. And again, it's not really related to Bitcoin specifically, but Bitcoin is down just like everything is down, because like what, like $1 trillion like left the like the stock market or something today. I mean, overall, yeah, I don't think this really affects the Bitcoin story too much. However, yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's down 3% at the time of recording, because when you have a major stock market disruption like that, then obviously Bitcoin is correlated with the stock market, so it will go down as well. I mean, look at where the stock market opened today. We had a close on Friday at about 6,100. We opened below 6,000. So that's crazy. That's a pretty big move. But overall, I guess to sum up the video, I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin. And get signed up with FEMX or BITUNIX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade. Without any further ado.